guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about cozy books that I think are going to be perfect for fall. All of these books come from different genres, but they all share one similar quality, and that's they feel like the kind of book that you want to curl up next to a fireplace in a blanket, sipping some hot cocoa. And all of these books I feel like are the perfect books to read to transition into the fall spirit. So the first book is actually one that I just finished reading this morning, and it kind of was the inspiration behind this video because I feel like this is the perfect cozy fall romance book, and that is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. So this follows one of the few witches in Britain. There are witches, but they're very far and few between, and every time a witch is born, her parents die. So all witches are orphans, and witches are not allowed to spend a lot of time in close proximity to another witch because magic is really drawn to witches. So when there's more than one in a certain area, it becomes very charged with magic that is hard to control. So witches, in order to stay hidden, they kind of live very separate lives from each other. But our main character, Mika Moon, is contacted by these people who are running this little school called Nowhere House for 3 young orphaned witches, and they need her to come and help these young witches control their magic. So she goes to this little school and joins the rest of the teachers there in helping these young witches, and one of them is a very grumpy librarian named Jamie who feels a lot of protectiveness over these kids and does not trust Mika as an outsider coming in. And I just loved this so much. It really reminded me of a mixture of practical magic and another book that I'm going to talk about in a minute, The House in the Cerulean Sea. I feel like if you loved this book, this has extremely similar vibes, except more cozy, more fall-ish. And the romance in here was so cute, like grumpy sunshine vibes. And I really liked this sort of eclectic cast of characters. It was just such a great cozy read. So then that leads me to The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, which is, in my opinion, one of the ultimate cozy books. And if you haven't read this yet, you need to. Basically, this is about a world where there are magical children, and there's this one particular orphanage that houses dangerous magical kids. And the main character in this is going there to assess exactly how dangerous these kids are. There is a little romance with him and the man who is running the orphanage. It's such a magical, cozy, cute story, very whimsical. Then we have a couple cozy mystery series. The first one is the Veronica Speedwell series by Deanna Raybourn. You guys know this is one of my favorite series ever, and I feel like this just has such cozy, warm, comforting vibes to it. It is a mystery series that takes place in Victorian England following these 2 scientists, Veronica, who studies butterflies, and Stoker, who is a natural historian, and they reluctantly have to team up together at the beginning of this book to help solve the murder of a mutual friend of theirs that they are framed for. And then through the rest of the series, they kind of continue to team up together to solve these different cases. And it is so great. The mystery elements are really fun. And then it also has this underlying, very slow burn romance between the 2 of them throughout the whole series. And I just love it so much. I love both of these characters and these stories and this world. It's so much fun. So if you haven't read this yet, I feel like fall is the perfect time to start it. Then the other sort of cozy mystery series that I have is the Finlay Donovan series by Elle Casimano. So there are 2 books out so far, and these are really fun, quirky mysteries. Basically, these are following a crime fiction author, and she is having a hard time figuring out what her next book is going to be. At the beginning of book 1, she is in a Panera with her editor, and she's kind of telling her editor what her new book is about. It's about this murder and killing, and somebody overhears her and thinks that she's talking about real life and that she's actually an assassin for hire. So the woman slips a note in Finlay's bag saying, I will give you $50,000 if you kill my husband. And that kind of leads Finlay on this like crazy wild adventure into like this criminal underworld in her town. I've read both books. They're just so much fun. Finlay and then her sort of sidekick best friend Vera are just the like funniest characters to follow. I really love them. To me, these are very cozy because they follow mysteries but in a very humorous, funny way. And it's just funny seeing like the crazy circumstances that Finlay gets herself into. The next two are also from a series. I had to put something by Seanan McGuire on here because to me, Seanan McGuire's writing is very cozy. So I was going back and forth between the Wayward Children series or this one, and I ended up going with this series. I'm not actually sure what the series is called. I know it has a name, like the Up and Over, the Under and Up, I don't know, something like that. But I feel like this series is the Wayward Children series, but even more whimsical, even more fantastical, and more cozy. So in this, we are following these two children. They end up one day while they're walking to school, finding this wall in the middle of the road, and they climb over it and find themselves in this new, fantastical, magical world. And these books are following their adventures there, and it's just so much fun. All the different like crazy, quirky, fantastical characters that they meet. I just really am having like a whole lot of fun with this series. And book 3, I believe, comes out very soon. So it's the perfect time to binge the first 2 books in preparation for the new one. So yeah, book 1 is Over the Woodward Wall and book 2 is Along the Saltway Sea. The next book is Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh. This is a short little fantasy novella following this like ancient man who lives in the woods, and he kind of is like the father of the woods. He controls the woods. He's thousands of years old, and his job is just to look after the woods. He lives in this little cottage and has all of his like sprite woodland friends, and then one day a new man moves into the estate that is located right outside of the woods, and they cross paths. It ends up uncovering some secrets from the past. There's like magic and darkness in the woods. If you want something that is both cozy but also just like a little bit darker, I feel like this is a great one. I don't know, something about books that are like set in nature, in the woods, in the forest, just give me like fall cozy vibes, and I really, really loved this one. And it's super quick. You can read it in an afternoon. Another very quick one is A Song for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. In my opinion, all of Becky Chambers' books are very cozy. She has this like warm writing style that's hard to explain if you haven't read her books, but this one I think is the coziest. This follows a world where humans had built these AI robots to become servants, basically, and then one day all of the robots gain sentience and self-awareness, and they decide they don't want to work for humans anymore, so they all like in mass disappear into the woods, never to be heard from or seen again. Now it is centuries later, and we're following this main character who is a monk, and he decides to go into that forest where all of the robots disappeared, and it's off limits to humans. And while he's in there, this robot comes up to him and says that he's checking in on humans and asks the question, what do people need? And so the book is kind of them just having this like long conversation about humanity, what people need, the fact that if you ask different people that question, everyone's gonna give you a different answer. And it's just super cozy. Like you're just following this little relationship between this monk and a robot. And I really, really loved this. Then we have what I think is like the ultimate perfect cozy book, and that is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. The fact that I do not have a physical copy of this book is a crime. So this book was originally self-published, and then it was picked up by Tor, so it is being re-released in November, I believe. So you will have to wait a little bit to read this, but put it on your radar. Best believe I have that pre-ordered. I'm just kicking myself that I didn't buy a physical copy when I had the chance. But this is one of my favorite books. It is such a cozy, low stakes fantasy story. That is like the tagline for it. And basically this is about this orc barbarian who decides that she wants to retire from the barbarian business to follow her dream of opening up the first ever coffee shop in this little fantasy village. So no one in this village knows what coffee is, so it's really a gamble for her to open up this little shop, but it is her dream. And that's like literally what the story is, just her like opening up this coffee shop. There's a little sapphic romance that she has with another character, and there is the cutest little like mouse creature who is a baker, and I would die for him. And yeah, I said in my review for this that this book reminded me of like if you take the Dungeons and Dragon world and characters, but you placed them into the Animal Crossing game. That's like what this is. It's just so cute and cozy, but then you have these like very fantastical creatures. I just loved it. It's so good. Then I have two graphic novels that I have to mention if you like reading graphic novels. Both of these are so cute and cozy. The first one is Garlic and the Vampire. Basically, this follows this little village of vegetables. You've got tomato, you've got broccoli, you've got carrot, and you've got our main character, Garlic. And they realize that in this castle that is kind of off in the distance, a vampire has moved into it. And they don't know if this vampire is friendly or dangerous, so they all vote that their lovely friend Garlic is going to be the one to go investigate and confront this vampire because, duh, Garlic repels vampires. However, Garlic is very anxious. She has lots of anxiety that just causes chaos throughout her day, and she really does not want to do this. She's not up for the task. She has to do it, and it is so cute. I really loved this. And the sequel to it, Garlic and the Witch, I think actually came out yesterday, so I really want to read that as well. I feel like these just have very cute, cozy autumn, fall vibes, and I really loved it. And then the other graphic novel that also just like the cutest, coziest vibes is the Tea Dragon Society. So this follows this Tea Dragon Society where basically there are these little dragons who grow tea leaves, and each dragon makes a different kind of tea, and then you have this society of people who care for the dragons, and you're following the main character who joins the society, and it's just so cute. Like I know I'm saying that a lot in this video, that all of these books are so cute, but I really mean it. And then lastly, we have another author who I would consider to be very cozy, but I only picked two of her books that I think are the coziest, and that is T. Kingfisher. Could we get through a video without me talking about T. Kingfisher? No. So the first one is my baby, my love, Sword Heart. This is a fantasy romance that is following this woman named Hala, who has been the caretaker of this old man, and then when he dies, he leaves her all of his money and his house, but her family, they're greedy as hell, and they want to force her to marry her cousin so that they can get all the money and the house for themselves. But Hala is like, hell no, I would rather die than marry my cousin. When they lock her up in her bedroom, she decides to kill herself. So she pulls down the sword that is hanging above the bed, but little does she know that sword is actually a magical sword that has this immortal warrior trapped inside, and when she wields the sword, this warrior pops out of it like a genie and is now magically bound to protect her. And that's like where the story goes from there. It is a very slow burn, grumpy sunshine relationship between the two of them that is just the most fun. Everyone who I recommended this book to says the exact same thing, that it is just fun. It is a really fun story, very cozy, and if you like fantasy books that aren't these like grand epic stories, I really think that you will like this. And then the other T. Kingfisher book that I think has very cozy vibes is Briny and Roses. So this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I feel like I don't want to say too much about it because if you've read a ton of Beauty and the Beast retellings, or if you, I mean, everyone knows what Beauty and the Beast is, you kind of know the general plot of this, but this does take some twists and turns in a really fun way, and I just enjoyed it. I had a great time with this story, and even though I've read like 10 Beauty and the Beast retellings at this point, I still like really enjoyed this, and I think that's really due to the fact that I just love T. Kingfisher's writing style. So those were all of my cozy fall book recommendations. I hope that you were able to find something to read in this video that will just give you the best fall vibes. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!